Good afternoon. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to our 5,466th meeting of the Oakland Rotary Club. I'm Tom Limon. I'm the president. Our club was founded in 1908, and we are the third oldest Rotary Club in the world with more than 36,000 and in some places 44,000 Rotary clubs in over 200 countries. Shh. Thank you. Thank you. Our club represents a diverse membership of 280 business, professional, and community leaders united to serve our local and international communities through a commitment to service above self. I'd like to welcome our friends on Zoom. Let's see, I see Deep, I see Linda, Stephanie. Let's see, welcome everyone. I think Peter's gonna pull up a gallery view. All right, so we have a good showing on there. So welcome our Zoomers. And do we have any visiting Rotarians today? If you are a visitor on Zoom, please put your name in the chat and we'll like to recognize you. Liz Luke, would you kindly share with us your thought for the day? Oh, we'll do that right after. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Ed Jelen, please. Do we have any visiting Rotarians and guests today?
First of all, Happy New Year, President Tom and Rotarians. And as far as visiting Rotarians go, I haven't the slightest idea. Do we have any visiting Rotarians here? I guess not, President Tom. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ed. And thank you, Jason. I totally skipped a line in my script. Do we have any guests today? Fred Morse. Check. Oh,
Maybe there we go. Yes, I'm introducing my guest, Chris Moore. He's running for supervisor in Alameda County. Oh, and he's going to put in an application to become a member.
all right. Welcome, Chris. I got to meet Chris at the holiday party. Good guy. Daniel Chang.
Hi, this is Daniel Chang. I have two guests today, my lovely wife, Carolina, and my son, Philip, who's a resident. Who's a resident in anesthesiology at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles.
Wow. Welcome, Carolina and Philip. Welcome today. Okay, do we have any other guests? Okay, Keith Ararte.
I'm coming, Steve.
So Tom and your guest as well, Dale Rosen, who is the president of the Friends of Joaquin Miller Park. And we'll hope we'll hear a little bit more about what he does and being involved in Oakland Rotary. Thank you.
All right, welcome, Dale. Welcome, Dale. And Dale will be up on stage shortly. So Liz Luke, now is your chance. Would you like kindly share with us your thought for the day?
I'd also like to shout out my visitor today, Juliana Crespin from Living Jazz. She is our marketing development manager. She's also an incredible dancer, fun fact. Today's quote is inspired by a man whose birthday is next week, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's from his letters from Birmingham jail in 1963. And I thought it was very poignant for these times. And he said, "Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. At our last meeting, if we could pull up a slide, at our last meeting, we elected new board members, Christine Watson, Greg Annis, Cedric Titus, and Isaac Koss-Reed, and even welcomed our new president-elect, Mr. Joe Garalka, for the years 25-26. It really takes that long to properly transition someone into the role of president. We also gave a recap of the first 6 months, and our treasurer, Keith Girdon, was not available to provide us with a financial update at the last meeting. So he will do so right now. So please welcome our treasurer, Keith Giordano.
Thank you, President Tom. Happy New Year, everyone. Just a brief recap. The June 30, 22 tax returns have been filed. During COVID, we got a little behind and we still are behind. The June 30, 23 financials, the tax returns are on extension. I am showing here the financial statements for the first quarter of that ends September 30, 23. A few key items. Don't worry about all the detail at this point. Membership dues for the quarter ended 9/30/23 was at 91,000. The year before was 101,000, so we have a decrease of 10,000. Our net operating income for that quarter ended up at 6,000. The previous year was at 32,000, so we have a decline of 26. We had some unusual expenses during the first quarter. We had the casino night cancellation that cost $7,700. And we had a settlement cost, a website issue that was 3,000. So that explains somewhat the decrease in the quarterly results. Let's go ahead to the balance sheet. The key thing here is when you look at the balance sheet, it looks like we're in good shape in terms of cash. It's showing 93,000, but all of that except for 1,500 is for committed global grants. So the cash we actually had at 9/30 to spend on club business was 1,500. So those of you that have the ready cash after Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents and whatnot, feel free to pay 6 months as opposed to the monthly program. I completely endorse the monthly program. It's great. It's valid and worthwhile. But if you have the extra cash, go ahead and prepay the 6 months. The reason that we need cash is we're prepaying the ballroom expense for 6 months. And we have a payment to make for a very important outside consulting service. So that concludes the treasurer's brief report. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Keith. So I also wanted to give sort of an outlook on what to expect for the next 6 months as I finish my term as president. In July, I wanted to focus on the meeting experience, offsite meetings, and these items here on the screen. So what I have planned for the next 6 months is we're working on getting a solid roster of guest speakers like we did in the first 6 months. We're still working on locking some of them down, but I wanted to share a few things to look forward to. So in February, we will have another Past President's Day, and our guest speaker that day will be Vern Glenn, who's a local sportscaster and also known as Mr. Involvement. So I think he'll be very entertaining. And then in March, we'll be celebrating the anniversary of the COVID shutdown. And so since past President Seth Butner was not able to have an in-person meeting as president, he will serve as president for the day. And thank you. And then we'll also have a couple of DEI committee is proposing a couple of workshops. And so we will move forward with that. And I encourage everybody to try to keep an open mind about that and to participate fully in this, as all of the activities that the DEI committee has put forth has been very beneficial. As far as offsite meetings, we have Mayor Sheng Tao at City Hall scheduled for February 29th. We'll also have some other key leaders from City Hall participating in that luncheon. We will also in April be at Oakland School of the Arts as a tour, and we'll bring back the brown bag lunch later and probably in May. And then we're also looking at the Chabot Space and Science Center and Oakland Zoo as offsite meetings. And opportunities for fellowship, we'll be having a Lunar New Year dinner. We will also be supporting the Laney Bistro and promoting it by doing a Rotary takeover of the Laney College Bistro. We will plan several happy hours and we will have at least 2 new member parties for Red Badgers. So this is a opportunity for Red Badgers to get together in a fun environment, but also invite our committee chair or committee leaders to participate and also meet our Red Badgers and, meet in a more casual environment. And we will also look forward to volunteer activities for our members, friends, and families to work on. And we will also plan more high adventure outings, including hikes and also a ski trip. Member engagement, I will continue to support our committees. We need volunteers for the upcoming gala. Who are our gala committee chairs? You could just raise your hand. All right, so we do need some support on that. We do need help. It takes a lot to make that happen, and they've done an incredible job. We also need volunteers for Enterprise Institute. And in fact, we will have live scans. We're looking at bringing live scan screening to the ballroom before or after a meeting to get that done so we can process volunteers easier. Let's see. So upcoming, we have Martin Luther King. So for volunteer community involvement and visibility, we are looking for more activities for family members, friends, and Rotarians to work on. So Dr. Joel Parrott, are you here? Can you tell us about an upcoming opportunity to volunteer?
Okay, we've got a great opportunity. Remember about 2 years ago, President Dudley initiated our Environment Committee to fulfill the 7th mission of the Rotary International. That led to the committee focusing on global warming, climate change, and what can we do? So here's what you can do. The first opportunity is Martin Luther King Day. We're going to join Trees for Oakland and the city of Oakland on tree planting up along Skyline Boulevard. So it's our first chance if you really want to make a difference. And I'm calling on all the Rotary environmentalists in the room and on Zoom to join us. So Martin Luther King Day, I'll give you more information about where to meet and what of the details next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. And then Anna Marie Jones is very involved with this group called the Trash Falcons at Lake Merritt. And so we're going to try to coordinate. There you go. So we're going to look at some volunteer activities with them also and all other activities in the community. I'm adding another bullet to this chart. So it's around operational improvements. So in the next few months, we're going to transition from Club Runner to DAC-DB, which is another service provider to handle our Rotary business. And it's very user-friendly. It's owned by a Rotarian, and it's very popular on the East Coast. It hasn't quite been adopted so quickly, but our district is actually looking at adopting this platform also. It syncs better with Rotary International, tracks membership better, and also makes it easier to manage and update our website. We're going to do a better job at invoicing. So Keith and Pam Clausen have been working closely with Jesse and our other admin Pam on that. And we're also looking at ways to make it easier to pay, things like Venmo or other platforms that make it easier to process payments rather than going through the whole rigmarole of, trying to make a payment through our platforms. And we're also encouraging, as Keith mentioned, we're also encouraging members to switch over to monthly recurrent payments or keeping a credit card on file with a third-party vendor to process other payments. And finally, we could pull up the next slide, Peter. We finally have a roster available. So we have a club roster. It took several months, and I take responsibility. So we were able to include several. Oh no, previous. Sorry. So we were able to include new members inducted this year, and we also added the Dan Lazar Good Job Award winners to the latest roster. And I think we might have this available as a PDF. Peter, it's the roster one. So I'd like to give special thanks to Alex Polson, Bob Barth, Linda Chu, Jesse Bodel, Shannon Hackley, the We Care Committee, and Sue Smith from East Bay Blueprint for helping us get this done. And then Dale, if you could make your way up. Finally, as a speaker's gift, I wanted to support both youth and parks and open spaces here. In July, I chose to support the Ann Woodell Swim Scholarship Fund through the Oakland Parks and Rec Foundation, which supports swimming lessons for youth in Oakland. For the next 6 months, I would like to support and highlight the incredible work of the Friends of Joaquin Miller Park. So I personally have a special connection to the park, as this was my favorite open space growing up and where I really fell in love with running trails as an 8-year-old. It was also my high school's cross-country training ground and race course, and I still go there several times a week to walk my dog. I would like to introduce Dale Risden, Chair of the Friends of Joaquin Miller Park, and offer him the opportunity to share a little bit more about the work that they do at the park.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Dale Risden. I've been associated with Joaquin Miller Park and Friends of Joaquin Miller Park since 2006. And it's an organization that takes and pulls together all the organizations within the park. Because if you meet, talk, you solve problems, you need the bikers to be able to be talking to the hikers, and that's how you improve the park. Unfortunately, in Oakland, we really haven't had the resources to take care of our parks for quite a few years. So Friends of Joaquin Miller Park has really tried to step up to the plate. A couple things we have is if you're ever at the Cascade area along Joaquin Miller Park, we have a nature program for youth under, let's say, 13, and we publish it in Spanish, Mandarin, and English to make it available. You can also get that online. When they asked me to speak, I thought about what should I talk about? We do a lot of fire prevention work along with Ken Benson. I'm also on the Oakland Fire Safe Council. And, fire safety in Oakland should be a really top priority because unfortunately the history of the Bay Area is when there's a fire up in the hill areas, they burn to the bay. They don't stop. We were lucky in 91 that fire stopped. Okay. The other thing that we try to promote is the history of the park. And Oakland is blessed with, that is literally that park is considered a literary giant in terms of what occurred in that park. Every major writer of the 1890s has come through that park. And Mark Twain, John Muir was Joaquin Miller's best friend. They planted 80,000 trees in Oakland. If you know the Joaquin Miller Abbey, that was built as a church for the Portuguese workers that came in to do that work. We were wondering who comes to Joaquin Miller Park, because one of the problems we have is we have 8 bathrooms, but only 2 work. And so we've been working now to, revitalize those. So we wanted to know who was coming. So we did a survey. And we're fortunate that people come from every part of Oakland. People come as far as 250 miles away, probably for biking, but we do that. One of the things that we're trying to do, and I'll wrap up here, is we're trying to save some of the historic features of the Abbey. I was lucky enough to restore Joaquin Miller's Abbey in 2012, and it's already time we have to paint it again. It also, we're lucky enough to have the Joaquin Miller's Cascade. It was designed by his daughter, Juanita. And it comes all the way down the hill. It's one of the most beautiful water feature gardens in America. And I know the city has worked recently very hard to try to get it back on. Not that they will have it constantly going, but during periods of time. And that was a 1937 WPA project that was done specifically for artists. So we're blessed. We could never in Oakland rebuild such a feature. And then one of the things that, and then we're also working very hard, and this is something you folks could help us. We have all these monuments in the park. There are about 6 we call them follies. And they were monuments made to, Moses, pyramids, funeral pyres, and we're trying to restore those because those are really in dilapidated condition. And then the other thing that I would really like to highlight is we need to get Oakland youth to our parks. You know, we're not doing that. We're not getting, you take a young person to a beautiful wilderness park and it changes their lives. And we need to do that more. So I hope we'll see you. We'd love to have you in the park. I do Heritage Alliance tours in the park once a year. So if you see that coming, I'll teach you the history.
Thank you.
Not quite yet. Oh, and I want to mention, we're having a Martin Luther King Day event on January 13th, and we'll be meeting at the Reflecting Pool at the Cascade. Love to have you. Have a great one. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dale. Thank you, Dale, for sharing. So today we have a meeting sponsor, Ms. Liz Luke, from Executive Director of Living Jazz, will share about her exciting program and an upcoming event that's on your table.
I could get the slides queued up. I'd appreciate that. Hi, can I get it on my phone? Hi, everyone. I think I had a slide before that, or maybe it's after. Okay, maybe not. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Luke. I'm the Executive Director for Living Jazz, an organization that was established in 1984. We are right here in downtown Oakland. We're in the Piedmont Piano Company building. And I wanted to walk you through a little bit about who we are and what we do. And we were, again, started in 1984. Our first program, you could go to the next slide, please, was Jazz Camp West. It's been around for 40 years. This is an intergenerational camp where people from the age of 15 all the way up into their 90s, people who've never touched an instrument to people who are total virtuosos, have an ability to take classes and be in community together for a week, living in the redwoods near Half Moon Bay. If you could skip to the next slide, is anyone? Oh, did the about stuff get done? It's okay. I'll just go off the cuff. So yeah, Jazz Camp West was the founding program. And if you think of a community that's been together for 40 years, a lot happens. You have people who fall in love. You have people who have children. You have their grandchildren all attending this camp. You have people who start off as never touched an instrument to coming through and then all of a sudden getting a Grammy Award. And you have programs that develop out of it. And I just want to give a shout out to Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. Terrence Kelly and his parents were a huge part of this camp. He started a gospel program there that got so popular that they started meeting outside of it. And it got so popular, they got too big to be part of Living Jazz and expanded into the beautiful Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. This camp was so popular that we decided to start a kids version called Jam Camp West. If any of you have young ones who love performing or just have some emotions to get out of their system, it's available for kids ages 9 through 16. It's a life-changing experience. We have kids from all cultures, all walks of life coming to this camp. We have scholarships available. And if any of you know someone, please send them to us. If anyone needs financial aid, we are happy to make that work. If you could go to the next slide, please. Or do I have control of it? Okay. All right, so I'm here today. You probably noticed a bunch of flyers on your table. Part of what Living Jazz did is about 20 years ago, we established a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are an arts organization steeped in jazz-rooted arts education. And what that means is we are steeped in civil rights, we are steeped in social justice, and the city of Oakland needed a performance to commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. King. This particular year, if you could go to the next slide, please. Actually, the one after that. Thanks. Oh. Okay, I'll come back to this. Sorry. So this particular year, if you look at the flyer in front of you, we are honoring the music of Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder did a lot of work in making MLK Day an actual holiday. He advocated heavily throughout the late 70s, early 80s to make MLK an official federally recognized holiday. After 4 years of the pandemic and not being able to do this show live, we are coming back big and strong at the Paramount Theater. We have literally over 200 artists on the show. We have over 175 children from the Living Jazz Children's Project, which you'll see in front of you right here. These are children from Oakland Unified School Districts, primarily Title I schools, children who've also received Oakland Rotary funding to help get instruments into those schools. So thank you for that. And then also these children have been learning music through choral rhythm. And this year we've recently added dance. Before the pandemic, we were in 4 elementary schools just in Oakland. At the end of the pandemic, there was such a need for arts education. A lot of nonprofits didn't make it through, and we were at the top of the list. So we went from 4 schools in Oakland to 14 schools today. And we have expanded to 14 schools, not just in Oakland, but throughout West Contra Costa County as well. We're having to turn down schools that are coming to us. So if any of you feel so inclined, it doesn't take much to sponsor a school if you want to support the Living Jazz Children's Project. If you could go to the next slide, please. All right, so my ask for you today is to consider supporting some of Living Jazz's programmings. And again, this program, Living Jazz, has been around for 40 years. This tribute to Dr. King is celebrating 20 years at the Paramount. Tickets are going fast. We have a special discount for Rotarians. If you could go to the next slide, please. And then we also have an incredible lineup. I just also want to point out that this year we decided to forego a major Grammy Award-winning headliner and focus on local artists and getting them on the main stage at the Paramount. We have an incredible lineup. We have also a celebration of Oakland youth education and jazz with Oaktown Jazz Workshops, the SF Jazz All-Stars, the Living Jazz Children's Project Choir. We also have a collaboration with Awesome Orchestra. Everything we're doing is jazz rooted. We're trying to show the expansiveness of jazz. So that could be blues, it could be gospel. And we have a full orchestra backing these original arrangements of Stevie Wonder tunes. And it's going to be an exciting night of music and celebration. And after 4 years of being apart, some unity. So please come out. You could use this code for a 25% discount. Please let your friends know. We want to make the show fully accessible. If you know anyone who needs a little more than 25%, please hit me up. Everyone is welcome. This is your show, Oakland. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you know, being at the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir concert last month, it was just fantastic. So I imagine this one's going to be just as great. So looking forward to it. And also, there's special instructions. These tickets are available on Ticketmaster, but you have to follow these instructions in order to get the discount. So coming up, we have a gala, and Carrie Hamill will share a little bit about what that entails.
So HNY, as my millennials would say, I'm here to remind everybody that this is the fundraising season for the ORE account. As Keith was saying earlier, the fund has a lot of money in it, but all of it is promised. So as we're looking ahead to this year, we've got to be thinking about ways that we're going to fund our scholarships going forward, our Enterprise Institute, instruments for students in classrooms, these kinds of programs that we do all the time. So we are doing something different this year. And you're getting a letter in the mail, which is going to explain all of this. So I'm not going to go into copious detail, but we had a separate ORE campaign in the past, and then we did the gala. All the money went to the same place. So we're aligning the two campaigns together this year. And we have 20 Angel Rotarians who have agreed to make phone calls. You're going to get one call, probably 10 calls from that person, but the call is going to ask you to donate to both events, to the ORE campaign and to the gala at the same time, instead of running 2 different campaigns. So I'm just letting you know that nothing is getting cheaper in the world. Please start thinking about it. The phone calls are going to start coming in the next couple of weeks, and we need you to stretch yourself as much as you can. Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie. And also letters going out very shortly that will have the levels of sponsorship available. So please keep an eye out for that. It's not junk mail. All right, so we have birthdays for January. I think do we have cake today back there? Yeah, okay. All right, so I just want to call out and thank the We Care Committee for handling this and coordinating this. And then also whoever's closest to the birthday gets to wear the beautiful birthday hat. So we have birthdays for Davey Warner, Katie Hall, Peter Turner, Lita Scola, Ramona Chang, Cal Stanley, Rick Draper. Yeah. Ramona, are you gonna put up a fight or can Alita have it? Dudley Thompson he might scrap for it too.
It's Ramona's birthday today.
Oh.
It's today. It's today.
All right, Ramona,
It's
come on
today.
down.
I mean, this is what happens when it's the day and we got.
You wanna win?
Right?
If you can defer it to Alita, but it is your birthday. So let's sing it, Ramona, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Dear Ramona. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Ramona. Hey, Ramona, Alita's a willing volunteer if you don't feel like wearing it. Okay, so thank you, Ramona, and happy birthday. So on your tables, we have upcoming events. We do have some fun activities coming up, and also we will be populating the Eventbrite page. So take a look at that, and also don't keep Rotary a secret, as our past president Dudley Thompson used to say. And also be sure to share us and like us on our social media. And with that, we will introduce our speaker. So Liz Luke, you're very active today, and please introduce our guest speaker.
I'm so excited for our next guest speaker. She is a pillar in this community and just a good friend and a good human to know. Nona Brown, what can I say about Nona Brown? She was born and raised here in the Bay Area, and she is many things, among which she's a vocalist, a pianist, a songwriter and producer, and an amazing mother. And Nona, she leaves a lasting impression. I am not a musician. I thrive off of building community through music, and Nona is someone who takes that to heart. Her career dictates that. She is the president of the Recording Academy for the San Francisco chapter. For those of you unfamiliar with what the Recording Academy is, maybe you've heard of one of their projects called the Grammy Awards, of which she has been featured as a background vocalist on a 2022 Grammy Award-winning album, the Best Children's Album by Falu, A Colorful World. And she's also a 2022 Telly Award winner for her Black Lives Matter music video, which was co-written by Tony Saunders. Nona is also, she's also, again, going back to the Recording Academy, she is a pioneer in many ways. She is the first Black woman to ever be the president of this chapter. In addition to Nona's music career, she's done many things. She has produced a documentary. It's called It Takes a Miracle. It's available on YouTube. You could watch it. She herself is a breast cancer survivor, and she, through this documentary, follows that journey. It's a story of 4 women who share 4 common threads. Those threads are music, resiliency, being a breast cancer survivor. It's powerful. I highly recommend that you all take a moment to watch it. I also want to just give a shout out to Nona. She is on that MLK tribute happening at the Paramount on Saturday, January 13th. And I just want to thank her for being a good friend and a mentor and someone I just really admire as a person and professionally. Thank you for taking time to be here today, Nona. Everyone give it up for Nona.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here this afternoon. I assure you, I'm not going to be before you long. I think that you all keep the doors open and keep it freezing cold, so the speakers will not be up here long. It's a real honor. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you, Tom. Let's give it up for your president, Tom. I know something about being a president. It's not easy. It's not all about just kissing the babies and waving, but there's a lot of hard work and a lot of time and effort that goes into serving the community. Before I get started, I want to poll the room. Anybody in the room, just a show of hands, that doesn't like music? Don't like music, it's okay. Anybody in the room that is boycotting community? It's okay. I'm not gonna judge you. Anybody here that just cannot have any use for unity? This is really good news for me. You want to know why? Because what I want to talk to you about very briefly, I want you to leave this afternoon inspired by the things that I'm about to share with you. Music plus community equals unity. And it's very, very probably obvious why I want to talk about music. I've had a life of music. Music has done so much for me as an individual. But I want to focus on some of the key aspects of music. Music possesses the unique ability to invoke strong emotions, inspire creativity, foster connections among people, and it influences our mental and emotional state. Do you all agree with that? Don't be scared. You can agree with it. I want to look at three aspects of music. How often do we hear that music is the universal language? Anybody hear that? Music is often considered the universal language because of its ability to transcend cultural barriers. It can communicate emotions and ideas to people of diverse backgrounds. And it enables cross-cultural understanding and appreciation. Music, all of that out of music. Another key aspect is, how many of you have come home from a hard day's work or a hard days of shopping or hard day of whatever you do throughout the day, and you just want to relax? You want to stop all of the noise. You want to stop all of the anxiety, and you turn on music. And you somehow, anybody experience that? Now, I'll tell you a funny story. I love music. Music serves a lot of purposes in my life. I love jazz, particularly, Liz. I love jazz. But the traditional jazz, listening to it and driving in traffic, it doesn't work for me. It's too much, starting and stopping in traffic. And then you've got these beats going, doesn't work for me. Smooth jazz and traffic, that's probably going to work better for me. Just want to share that. Music is therapeutic. It can calm you down when you're driving in traffic. Some people like, what kind of music do you like, sir? Okay, rock in traffic? I don't know. What kind of music do you like, ma'am? The red shirt, red blouse. Oh, hey, traffic and R&B. Tom, what kind of music do you like? Hip hop. So you see this music can be therapeutic. He can be in traffic and be rock. She can be in traffic and be smooth sailing with R&B. He can be in traffic and hip hop it all the way home. Music can be therapeutic. Music is it's a recognized form of treatment for various mental and emotional conditions. It can help reduce stress, anxiety, depression. It can improve your mood. It can promote relaxation, what we just saw an example of. Music, so we got music, the universal language, music, the therapeutic effects. Music, let's talk about the social connections. How many of you have ever gone to an annual, like, who's ever attended the Monterey Jazz Festival, which is an awesome festival? How many of you have met friends there? How many of you have met friends there that you have seen year after year after year? Music, the social connections. Music has a unique ability to bring people together, whether it's through group singing. Shout out to Terrence Kelly back there in the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. Give it up for him again. Whether it's coming together as a group and singing, dancing, or attending concerts, music fosters a sense of community. Do you agree? Now let's talk a little bit. So again, we had music. We got music that's a universal language, therapeutic effects, social connections. Now let's talk about community. Would you consider yourself here this afternoon a community? Would you consider yourself a strong community? I would love to hear a stronger yes. Now that's what I'm talking about. Community is a group of individuals who share common interests, goals, values, and sometimes geographical locations, and it plays a critical role in our lives in various ways. Let's look at 3 points of community. One of the points that I would like to focus on is sharing. Communities are a source of knowledge and resources. Members can exchange information, much like what this club does. Information, skills, resources, which leads to personal growth and community development. This can be particularly valuable in educational and professional communities. The other point that community I'd like to focus on is the cultural preservation. Communities play a vital role in preserving and passing down cultural traditions, values, and practices. Cultural communities help maintain a sense of identity and heritage, ensuring that important aspects of our society's history are not lost. Wouldn't you agree that that's very, very important cultural preservation? We're talking about community. The other aspect, which is really, really important and something that Oakland really needs to continue to participate in, is problem solving. Communities often unify to address common challenges or problems by coming together and sharing their collective intelligences and resources. Communities can find innovative ways, solutions to overcome obstacles. Let me give you a quick example. Let's just say I have a kid. Now I have 2 kids. They're grown, very grown, very grown. And I have a grandson. So let's just say we take it back 20, 30, 40 years to high school days. And one of my kids is having a problem at school with a bully and a few bullies, and they're going around bullying kids, and they come home and they tell me. So I can make an appointment to go and talk to the principal about it. Now, first of all, I got to get in touch with the principal. Second of all, I got to get on their schedule. Third of all, I don't know when that's going to happen. But you let me flip the script and call every parent that has a child at that school and say, hey, there's a bully on the loose. Your kid might be affected. Let's show up at the school. I believe that there would be a different response if all the parents showed up at the school and said, we would like to talk to the principal. Big different response if I did that individually. This is one of the benefits of community, is problem solving. You can unify to come together for an expected outcome. So we talked about music, we talked about community, and finally, let's talk about unity. And I'm so glad in this room that everybody agrees that you have benefited from the unity in the room. Anybody else feel that way? We've often heard the term that there's strength in numbers. Unity often involves individuals or groups joining forces, much like the example I gave, combining their resources, skills, and efforts. This collective strength can be signified greater than what a single person could ever accomplish alone. Another benefit of community is peace and conflict resolution. With all of the theft that's going on in Oakland, the car thefts that's going on, unity brings about peace and conflict resolution. Very, very important. It can also prevent the further violence once we come together and talk about it and create peaceful and conflict resolution scenarios. Do you all agree? And then the last point of unity is political change. Now, don't get worried. I'm not going to start talking about politics, just talking about the power of unity. Unity can be a driving force behind political change. When citizens unite to advocate for a specific policy, a candidate, or reform, they can influence the outcome of elections and shape government decisions. Have we seen that happen in our day? All of that is because of unity. So when we talk about music plus community equals unity, we are talking about powerful tools, an opportunity to use the power of music to bring us together as a community so that we can continue on for years to come in the spirit of unity. You all agree? So when you leave here today, I want you to keep the music alive, keep community among us, and it is guaranteed to produce unity to come for years. That's all I got, y'all. I would love to address any questions. I'd love to speak with you all. Question in the back. See, sound people, you didn't even have to give me any signs.
First of all, young lady, is it? Okay, I have to get closer. I'm learning how to do this. First of all, young lady, thank you so much for the work that you do and all the resilience that you have in your own experiences that you bring to what you're doing work-wise. I am curious about how you engage young people, and my own personal experiences. My late brother wrote the words "Young, Gifted, and Black" with Nina Simone, and jazz and music has always been in my life. My daughter went to Khalil Shahid's summer camp, music camp forever. I'm just curious about what you do in San Francisco and what we need to do over here to make sure that people hear this music. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. One of the greatest ways to engage our youth is to meet them where they are. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying to put a hat on backwards and drop your pants, anything like that, but find out what their interest is. Find out what their interest. If they're interested in video games, strike up a conversation about video games, because the biggest thing that youth struggle with is identity, and adults don't understand. You don't understand where I'm at. So meet them where they're at. And of course, music is always the thing that brings everybody together. I don't know a kid that doesn't like music. I don't know if you see a baby that comes into the world and as they develop and you turn music on, nobody has to teach them to move. Nobody has to teach them to bop their head. So utilize that universal language. Meet the youth where they are and strike up conversations. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today. I think you might be interested in how many people here are musicians or play music. Can you guys just identify yourselves?
Okay.
Oh, please. There's more than that. All right. They're being shy. But they're on Zoom. Okay. But thank you, Liz, for bringing Nona to us today. I think it's a really important thing for people to understand the value of music. We gave a scholarship to Living Jazz, and people are always asking, well, if there's starving people, why are we giving it to music? Well, now I think we have a better understanding. And then I want your comment on this, and then I will shut up. One of the things that I know about one of the performers that you have coming, Liz, Kev Choice, is that he is a first cultural responder. So, and I think you guys are too, aren't you? At Oakland Interfaith Jazz, gospel. And that means that like when there was the fire, the ghost ship fire, is that what it's called? Ghost ship fires, they show up to help the community heal and bring unity. What are your thoughts about that?
I think is wonderful. And I think it aligns exactly with what I talked about. Music plus community equals unity. And I think we need to continue on that path and support organizations like Living Jazz and like the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir, who are these first responders. Music is such a healing tool and it encompasses so much. And we have to do everything we can to keep it alive. Thank you for your question. Tom. How do we get music education back in the schools? By utilizing our strength as community. Remember, I talked about how there's power in numbers. We have to continue to mobilize and go to the state and say, this is essential. This is necessary. Liz, you want to add anything to that?
No speaking without a microphone.
Yeah, use your voice. I remember when I was working at the Oakland Symphony as part of Leadership Oakland, and it really inspired me to get more involved on an advocacy level. And I started speaking at city council meetings and advocating for why we should get 20% increases to get back to where we were 20 years ago in terms of funding. And it really worked. We got those budgets approved, but the next year someone didn't come back to advocate and it kind of went down that slippery hill again. And the things that take over are the things that you see on social media, the bipping, meaning the car break-ins, the donuts, those sideshows. And it's important, I think, to reinstill a sense of pride in Oakland and to go back and express your love for the arts and how it really does instill pride and what it does on an economic level, because let's face it, money talks. Whenever there's a show at the Fox Theater or at the Paramount, you've got 3,000 people coming to town, buying drinks, getting dinner. It's important to express that and what local businesses get, how they benefit from the arts. So yes, just speak up, use your voice, let your city council members know, let your politicians know, vote accordingly. And yeah, and also you can make donations to nonprofits like Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir or Living Jazz to keep those programs in the Title I schools until that budget gets approved. Thanks.
Thank you. Great. You good?
I
Any
don't
more
see it, but
questions?
you know, I want to preface something about what I want to, not preface, I want to get piggyback, which is what we don't talk about enough with music in schools is what it gives you. Problem solving, working with others, and math. It is such a math-oriented thing, playing an instrument, and no one ever talks about it. And if we talked about it more along those lines, because a lot of people have right brains, a lot of people have left brains, and sometimes the two shan't meet. And the problem is if you don't talk about it in the language that the other will understand, then it falls to the wayside and we don't have music in schools. And that's a bummer.
Great point. I couldn't agree more.
Well, I'm a genius. Everyone will tell you.
Of course you are. They told me before I came. They told me about you. I knew that was you. We've got another question here.
Thank you very much for being here. I just wanted to say that there's a film, a documentary film that very well might win the Best Documentary Award at the Academy Awards. It's called Bobby Wine, the People's President. And it's about someone in Uganda who's using his music as a force for change. It's an amazing film. And if you see it out there, please give it a watch. It's like nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Bobby Wine, the People's President.
Thank you so much. I would love to meet you after this. Thank you for your time. Blessings to you.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, it's so nice to start the year off with such a great speaker, and the Academy Recording Artists are lucky to have you as their San Francisco chapter president. So thank you, Nona. It's customary for our club to make a donation in our guest's name to a charity or cause. And this year, as you might have heard, is my area of focus is around youth and parks and open space. So we will be making a donation in your name to the Friends of Joaquin Miller Park, who strive to make the park more beautiful and accessible to the public while reducing the risk of wildfire. Does that about sum it up, Dale? All right, good. Also, yeah, I have a bit of bad news. So this is the tough part about being a Rotarian and having longtime members. And so we lost another beloved member of our club. George Constantinopoulos we just found out this week, he passed away recently, and there will be a wake next Wednesday at 6 p.m. and funeral services on Thursday, January 11th from 10 to 11 at the Greek Orthodox Church in Oakland. We'll send out information regarding his services, but he will be dearly missed. And John Protopappas will say a few words at an upcoming meeting to highlight some of his remarkable accomplishments. So he was really an incredible person. And I wish I would have gotten to know him better, but he just, that's a tough part about being in this club. Alex Polson.
You can't talk without a mic.
Wait.
You're gonna have to say it again now.
President Tom, I'd like to ring the bell twice. Once for George, a wonderful man and great community asset that we have lost. And secondly, for Dr. Philip Chang, who's visiting us today. I knew him when he was a obstreperous young man, and he is now a fabulous physician in Southern California.
All right. Okay, Pam Clausen.
This is Pam Clausen, and I'd like to ring the bell today for the 21st anniversary with my lovely husband, John.
Oh.
I like how they sit apart.
Right behind you, Jason.
President Tom and fellow Rotarians, I'd like to ring the bell in honor of George. He was here just a few weeks ago. I think this is the power and value of the community and the influence that creates unity for us. So this is for George.
Okay. So a bell ring, as you all know, or most of you know, is a generous $100 tax deductible donation to the Oakland Rotary Endowment. So Miss Ruth Straub, can we get Ruth a mic? All right. So Ruth will be sharing who's in the ballroom next week, Ruth.
Next week, we will be hearing from Daniel Francis of Akash Systems. And Tom, remind me what he's going to be talking about.
So Daniel works for Akash Systems. They're going to be a huge force in West Oakland building semiconductors. They already are a huge force. Barbara Lee was just featured in a news story touring their facility, and they're going to be building a new facility in West Oakland and creating new jobs that aren't necessarily, where they'll be accessible to members of the community to participate in high tech world.
And we encourage everyone to come at noon for networking and get their lunch ready so we can start our meeting promptly at 12:30.
Great. Thank you, Ruth. So please bust your own tables, and if you rang the bell, please see Jesse, and if you can make a payment, that would be great. And thank you to everyone who is here today in person and online. Peter, do we have any messages online, or are we good? Okay. Well, anyways,
We're good.
Oakland Rotary is here for you, and Happy New Year, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.